November 25th, 2024. There's not a lot of things happening this week, but the things that are happening have their own significance. Of course, this is the general forecast, not about you, not about you. It's about all of us. The more awareness you bring to your life, the more you're on top of things, the less any of this matters, even your personal astrology. The more awareness you have, the more compassion, the more lit up you are. Uh, well, you're not lit up, but you know what I'm saying. The less these things matter to you. So don't worry about any of this. Never worry about any of this stuff. This is not something to worry about. However, individuals make choices. Individuals have awareness, but as a collective, the baseline level is not quite at the same. It's at baseline level, and then it gets a little bit easier to make predictions. Anyways, that's something to think about, mostly for other weeks, because this week it doesn't really apply all that much. The first thing that happens is that Mercury goes retrograde on the 25th. Now, that means if you're watching this the weekend before, 23rd, 24th, 25th, or going forward into the 26th, we're at the station of Mercury to go retrograde, and this is going to be the deal here. We're going to feel the mercurial mishaps multiplying. This is a really poor time to access new technology. This is a bad time to be getting careful, especially as we get into the holiday season. I know a lot of people are going to want to order things online. Check, especially anything to do with electronics, anything to do with cars and so on. But there's this little, you're going to order things online. You better be sure they're going to arrive by the due date. But how do you know? Because Mercury's retrograde. That's exactly what I'm saying. Is that what I'm saying? I think that's what I'm saying. I don't know. Mercury's retrograde. So who knows? So be very careful around holiday shopping, especially things you order online. All of the holiday travel. Mercury's going to be retrograde until December 15th. If you're booking your trip for within that period of time or afterwards, and you're doing it with Mercury retrograde, could go this way, could go that. I've actually booked a number of trips with Mercury retrograde and everything was fine. If you're traveling on the Mercury stations, then I would be a little bit more cautious about it. Nothing bad's going to happen. I'm just thinking that it's the kind of situation where you might find, your luggage gets lost or the plane is delayed, or, you wind up in the wrong city or something along those lines. You bought your ticket to London, Ontario instead of London, England, something along those lines. In general, Mercury is retrograding in the sign of Sagittarius, where he is sort of at his downfall. This is not his favorite sign to be in. And last week, Mercury was opposite Jupiter, who is in Gemini, Mercury's home sign. They were in mutual reception, right? They're in mutual reception. And they're going to meet again. They're going to oppose each other again. It's a meeting of sorts, I suppose. I think it's on December 4th or so. Something. Well, we'll get to that in the future forecast. But Mercury is in Jupiter's home sign of Sagittarius, where he tends to spout a lot of beliefs. And, I know what the truth is, and here it is. And we've been hearing a bit of this lately. And the retrograde is liable to dial things back a little bit, just a little bit, just a little bit. Remember, individuals have the ability to kind of plow through. But the retrograde might call some of the statements that have been made in recent weeks. Yes, I'm talking about political stuff in the US, but in general, if people have been kind of a blowhard lately, we are very likely going to see, that they'll be called out on it a little bit, or maybe they'll have to sort of swallow their words just a little bit. You know how it is in the collective. You'll see that kind of stuff happening. Maybe you will, maybe you won't. It's hard to say. It's very hard to say. But Mercury is retrograding in Sagittarius, which is not his favorite sign to begin with. And that means this is kind of a little bit of a troublesome Mercury retrograde. So just all the usual Mercury retrograde things about contracts and electronics and cars and all the rest of it apply, a little bit more. And at this time of year, we don't really have tons of choices about a lot of things because we're sort of, down towards the solstice, the holidays, and so on. So, a lot of decisions are made for us. We want to be kind of aware of that. Okay, that's the Mercury retrograde story. And again, especially right around Monday, the day before and after, that's when things really go. You're not in the clear on Thursday. Don't go buying a new cell phone on Thursday, unless it's an iPhone, because Apple has a unbelievable history of releasing their most successful products with Mercury retrograde or very, very close to the stations. I think iPhones may be in their own little cosmic universe. Anyway, I mean, it's actually to the point where Apple products that were hyped up and released when Mercury wasn't retrograde sort of flopped. And those that were released with Mercury retrograde or near Mercury retrograde have been their most tremendous successes. It's almost like a, opposite land kind of thing. Well, and I've never found a reason for that. But I digress. See, I'm taking up time over here. On Wednesday, the sun is trying to Mars. Now, Mars is getting ready to retrograde. That's happening next week. We'll talk about that next week. But Mars is deep in the shadow of his retrograde. He's getting a trine from the sun. It would usually be a tremendous opportunity for action. The sun in Sagittarius, Mars in Leo, the sun's home sign, nice connection, very good. If it wasn't for the fact that Mars is really stationed and not going anywhere, that's kind of a little bit of a hiccup in the whole plan. And the moon is waning. It probably would, the way I look at it would be this. It's probably a good time to finish up projects that need to get done. Of course, it's the Wednesday before Thanksgiving in the US. Wrapping up things that need to get done is probably an sort of an automatic kind of thing. But just keep that in mind. That's kind of a little bit of the vibe, Monday to Wednesday. Afterwards, I mean, here we are. It's going to be Thanksgiving, and then you got to, talk to family and stuff like that. And if you're in the U.S., which most people who watch are, and then going on, we have the Black Friday. So, Thanksgiving was moved to the fourth Wednesday in November by Franklin Roosevelt during his presidency, with the idea of extending the holiday season, the Christmas holiday season. I think Thanksgiving used to be, I'm embarrassed to say that I don't have this on the top of my head. I think it used to be like in October. And they pushed it down to the end of November and made it Thursday with the idea that people would have Friday off and that would be a big shopping day. And that was an idea that caught on like nobody's business. However, putting it on the fourth Thursday of the month of November ensures that it will be in Sagittarius. Thanksgiving must fall in Sagittarius, and so must Black Friday. And, Sagittarius, expansion, growth, make things bigger. It's pretty good for shopping. The cornucopia is sort of the Sagittarian Jupiter symbol. This year, of course, with Mercury retrograde, we might have a little thinking to do about it. We might have some questions that come up about it. Anyway, we'll see. We're waning down into the new moon. The new moon in Sagittarius is early on Sunday. That full moon, we never had full moon. I can't believe that was 2 weeks ago already, right? It seems like that was just, I guess 2 weeks ago is pretty reasonable. But it was a big super moon, and it was conjunct Uranus, a lot of stuff going on. Now we have the new moon, and the new moon is on Sunday. Friday night, we're going to have the moon in Scorpio, a waning moon in Scorpio. Okay. And then Saturday night, we have it's for a while, it's called a dead moon. Or is it not a dead moon? Because actually, maybe not because of the aspect to Neptune. Well, it'll be dead for a little while. It's void and it's waning. There's no aspect until the new moon. Anyways, we get to the new moon. New moon in Sagittarius, typically a time not like don't stay up till 2 a.m. on Sunday morning Eastern time for the new moon. Don't do that. Maybe later on Sunday, Monday, when you can actually see the moon in the sky, assuming clear weather. That's a good time to maybe set intentions for travel, education, big picture stuff, expansive stuff, things that you'd like to read, things that you'd like to learn about. That's what you should be thinking about. Seeding the intention after, not at, but after the new moon. All right. See, that is all actually pretty specific to you. And thanks for watching this far. Remember, if you have questions, put them in. Now, I answered last week's question about retrograde planets and retrograde planets in the sky, and I will put the link. I actually answered in a full video. It's like about 16-minute video. But if you have shorter questions, I'll be happy to answer them, on next week's video. Or, maybe I'll just keep talking it up and making other videos. I don't know. If you got questions, ask me. Mercury's retrograde in Sagittarius. I'll make something up.